Talking to CNBC's Larry Kudlow, my Hump Day panel, Steve McMahon, Democratic strategist, Ann Kornbluth, the Washington Post deputy national political editor, and Michael Steele, former RNC chairman and MSNBC political analyst. Welcome all. I do want to remind folks, when you hear Rudy, that maybe it's personal for him. Here is, let's see if we have this piece of sound. Here is Joe Biden on Rudy Giuliani 4 years ago.
I mean, think about it. Rudy Giuliani, there's only three things he mentioned in a sentence, a noun and a verb and 9/11. I mean, there's nothing else. There's nothing else. And I mean it sincerely. He is genuinely not qualified to be president.
This stuff does get personal, and Michael Steele, after that hit, I remember that, it really did do real. It was the one most effective thing Biden did in his own presidential campaign, was probably just hurt Giuliani in the other primary.
Yeah, took him down.
So it's a little personal for Rudy.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, but let's talk about the vitriol here. Steve, what I was struck by, Biden saying something that inartful, and I think that the Morning Joe folks are right. Had a Republican said it, it would be a giant deal. The Romney campaign went hard at it. Why do you think they did?
They're trying to change the subject, and they don't want to talk about the Paul Ryan plan to make Medicare a voucher program. Absolutely, because what's happening right now, it was interesting, the candidates ran to Iowa right after the announcement. Barack Obama understands that older voters are now in play in a way that they weren't before, because Medicare is now a bigger issue than it was before, and nobody wants to turn it into a voucher program. The Romney campaign wanted to change the subject.
Why do you think the Romney folks they decided to say, you know what, we're not going to do the gaffe thing with Biden this time. We're going to shove this down the campaigns here. We're going to say it's intentional and say, look at these guys.
And they turned on a dime. I mean, it was last night.
They wanted to pounce.
We got those remarks, and we couldn't believe the way the tone suddenly changed from afternoon to night. Maybe it's Medicare, and certainly there's an argument to be made that they shouldn't want to talk about it. But if you look at the likability numbers that President Obama has had, any opportunity to say they are full of hate, this is an angry campaign, even if you risk looking that way yourself, I think they're going to take. And that's what you saw them doing last night. They got to close the gap between Obama and Romney.
And if you can't rise,
bring it down.
With that. That's the thing that's keeping this Obama campaign afloat right now, and is that 51, 52, 53% likability. They have to bring that down. That's the number, quite frankly, Chuck, I've been tracking for the past year. It's not the 8.3% unemployment. It's the fact that people still like this president, and when they get into that booth in November, if they still do, and it's close, it could break Obama's way, and they need to bring it down.
Here's the thing that usually matters most in these things, and it's why Ronald Reagan was able to win with a very high unemployment rate, and it's why Barack Obama probably is going to win with a very high unemployment rate. It's whether people feel like the economy is getting better or getting worse. We did a Purple poll recently, and that was the #1 predictor of vote, whether people felt like the economy was getting better or getting worse. There was a good jobs report last week, which was great for the president. If there's another one, I think this race is going to be pretty well over.